When a temporary covering provider or locum is joining the clinic to cover for a provider going on leave, they can share an existing license to access Accuro EMR. First, the temporary covering provider will need their own user account that is linked to a provider instance in Accuro. A system administrator can create a user in the Accuro Admin Center in the Users section. Then they can submit an Add Provider form from within Accuro to get the process started on creating the provider instance for the new user. More information on creating a new provider user can be found in Accuro Resources. Once the covering provider has been added to Accuro, a system administrator can log into the Accuro Admin Center and in the user management details for the temporary covering provider, click on the Cover a Provider button. If the Cover a Provider button is grayed out, it means the user does not have a provider status. Only providers can cover for other providers. When the temporary covering provider pop-up opens, it will display a list of all currently active provider users that have a license assigned to them. If no users are listed, it means there are currently no provider users with active licenses assigned to them. If the list is on the longer side, you can also search for the exact provider's name. Once you locate the provider that is going on leave, click the Select button next to their name. Next, click the Assign to Cover button. Now the temporary covering provider will be assigned the same license, which they will share with the provider on leave. While the original provider is on leave, they still have access to Accuro EMR as they normally would, should any incidents or emergencies arise that require them to log in. However, while their license is being shared with a temporary covering provider, their access will still count towards the total allotment of logins dictated by the license. For example, if the license being shared is for a full-time physician that has access to Accuro EMR with 90 unique logins within a 90-day period, and both the original provider and temporary covering provider log in, that would count as 2 out of 90 available until the coverage is disabled. When the coverage is no longer needed, the Stop Covering button can be clicked in the temporary covering provider's user management details. Once coverage is disabled, the temporary covering provider will still have their user account, but they will not be able to log into Accuro EMR as it will not have a license assigned to it. If the user account is no longer needed after the temporary coverage, their account can be deactivated. If the user will stay at the clinic even after the original provider returns, they will require their own provider license. For more information on licenses or account management, please visit our Accuro Resources page.